it's probably the one thing that most people don't do or don't even consider it. But there was a massive transformational difference in us when we started this process. There are things that we do to this day and sometimes every week, every day that were established in these vision retreats. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Radiant Podcast, and we are ending our series that we've been in for the last probably 5 episodes now of how to rest well and 5 habits that I've learned in resting that has transformed my life. And this episode, kind of 6 of this series, is kind of the final habit. So if you have not if you're just now jumping in and you are like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about, I encourage you to go back to kind of the start of this series of what is rest, resting well, why do we need rest? And then I kind of break down the 5 things that I've learned over the years, starting with morning time, evening time, regular Sabbath rhythm, regular date nights, and now kind of this 5th habit I'll be introducing in a little bit of annual retreats. And this is kind of comes from the concept that Taylor and I have kind of been breaking down over these last episodes of burnout. I've had lots of conversations with people about burnout, about maybe they don't use the word burnout, but they're saying all the other keywords of burnout. And most of the time they feel like it comes from they're just working too hard. And what they're actually doing is they're not resting well. That's kind of like that Matthew passage we talked about earlier of just like that fruitless toil. It's kind of visionless toil. It's working unto exhaustion. And so in my opinion, you have these different rhythms. You have the morning and evening, which are daily rhythms, the Sabbath, which is weekly, the date night or the community, which is like kind of regular rhythms, maybe like every other week or something like that. This 5th habit that we're going to be unpacking, this annual retreat, I'm only saying once a year, but it is like it's that vision setting time that actually all the other habits align with. Yeah. And so if you don't have this 5th habit of annual retreat together, then the other habits can start to lose their place and everything starts to kind of splay out. Like you don't have an anchor. Yeah. And so that time kind of really starts to cement it. And so this is part of the rest rhythm that my wife and I have kind of established. We've been married for almost 16 years. We've only been doing this for maybe 4 years now, 3 or 4 years, I think. It's hard to know exactly, but there was a massive transformational difference in us when we started this process. So this is probably the one thing, this annual retreat, this kind of like once a year habit, it's probably the one thing that most people don't do or don't even consider it. Yeah. If I were to ask a believer, hey, are you spending time in the Word in the morning? They know what I'm talking about. Now, they might say yes or no, but they know what I'm talking about. If I say, are you, like, what's your day off, your Sabbath like? They might not know the word Sabbath, but they understand the concept. If I ask them, are they on date nights? They know. They're not doing it probably, but they know. But if I say, hey, what's your annual retreat like? They're like, are you talking about like a corporate thing? Like, what do you like? It's like they don't really know what that means. Yeah. But this is the one thing that I have learned from other leaders. I started implementing it, and I was like, man, this is like incredible. Yeah. And so I started just telling everybody I could about it. And you're one of them. We were just
Me
talking
included. Yep.
Before we hit record. You were just like, all right, we haven't done one yet. We have a new baby coming soon. We're trying to coordinate with our parents, and we're going to do one in November. Yeah. And so I'm saying it here. You're doing one in November. It's going to be excited. Great. So yeah. So I'm going to be mostly like all the previous episodes. We're husbands, we're fathers, like we have young kids. So we're coming from the perspective of being married for some years now, young kids. What does that look like? How do these rhythms of rest work? But you can do this in any capacity. If you're single, if you're listening to this podcast and you are single, you can and you should do this even now. Like, don't wait until you're married to do a retreat. Yeah. Do one right now. Cast vision for your life and have that time. So I kind of break this down as we do it like once a year. It's 1 to 2 nights. It's where we go away and we are able to have the big, deep, difficult conversations with each other. So once a year, 1 to 2 nights is really doable. Like when you think about it, and you think about all the other days of the year, we're asking 1, maybe 2 nights. So it's like 1 night, 2 days, whatever, of your life to be able to, of that year, to set it aside to say, okay, this is a time of focused conversation. We have young kids and we will go out to dinner, or we'll have dinners together at home, or we'll have times, whatever. And it's like, we start having a conversation and like, or in the car, this is happening the other day. We're driving in the car and my wife starts asking me about something in my life, and I'm talking about something in hers, and we're talking about something in our lives and all this kind of stuff. And as we're starting the conversation, our kids are just randomly asking us the most random questions or talking to us. They literally hear us talking and they're just like, hey, so can we? And I'm just like, you literally hear us. And so we're just like, and I have
opportunity to interrupt.
Yeah. My wife's incredible. I have really bad like ADD. So as soon as I'm interrupted, she'll be like, okay, so what were you saying? I'm like, I wasn't saying anything.
Zero clue.
Don't know what I was talking about. And so our conversation gets broken up or whatever. And we're not able to have, so this is a time where it's like, hey, we're going to sit down
focused,
uninterrupted. There's nobody to ask us anything. We're going to have some of those conversations. Now, there's a couple boundaries that I'm going to set up. This is not your vacation. This, like if you go to Disney every year, or on a cruise every year, or you go up north with your family and in a cabin or whatever, this is not vacation time. This is a focused retreat. This is very intentional, very focused. It can have some elements of a vacation, like food, time together, laughing, playing, whatever. But it is like, the goal is these conversations and these focuses. So we actually have 2 things a year we do. And one of them is this. The other one is also without kids, but it's more vacation-y, but just us. So it's like we have a vacation with our kids we try to do every year. We have a vacation with just Natasha and I that we try to do every year, my wife. And then we have an annual vision retreat. So it's like, 2 to 3 things a year that we try to do. That sometimes happens, but usually we try to get that, that hit. So if you don't have kids, you're like, oh yeah, I can do this. It's easy. And it's go away somewhere, If you do have kids, chances are like you've never had, like I said, a conversation of any depth without it being interrupted. And so this is like that time to be able to go away and have these conversations. And I'll talk about what those conversations are, but this last episode that we did was the date night one. And we talked a lot about relationship, intimacy, that time together, the fun, the being best friends. So before we initiated this annual retreat, we were doing date nights. We've been doing date nights pretty regularly, consistently. Felt really good about it, had great date nights. So much so that there was a lot of vulnerability and intimacy in those conversations. We weren't just like, so how was your day? Just kind of like whatever. It's like, no, actually like, hey, what's happening like right now with that situation at work or whatever. And towards the end of that time, before we started the vision retreats, or the annual retreats, my wife would start sharing things that like the Lord was doing in her heart, like just like, being vulnerable, like the Lord's speaking this to me, I'm feeling challenged in this, whatever. And then usually, because she's an emotional person, she would just start crying. So here I am in a restaurant, fork in my hand, looking at my wife, who's just crying. She's just like, and so, and I'm like looking around at everybody, like just looking at me with like eyes like, you jerk. What did you say? What are you doing? What'd you say to her? I'm going to spit in your food as it goes by. And I'm just like, whoa. And I'm like, this is uncomfortable. And it was like, there was a running joke because it happened probably like 5 or 6 dates in a row. She's crying, not just like a little tear. She's like crying. And we're like, okay, can we talk about something that's just not serious? Can we just like not cry tonight? Like, is it? And so that's when it started happening more and more frequently. And that's when I realized I need to create another environment for this type of communication. And it's not that we can never have any kind of serious conversation at date night, but date night was becoming something that it wasn't supposed to be, which was that vision and the big, difficult, deep conversations. Date night was supposed to be, hey, it's two friends spending time together, hanging out, having fun, remembering that we're husband and wife. Like this is enjoyable. This is fun. But then we go away once a year and we like, all right, let's talk about that thing that's like, when we talk about it, it kind of stinks and someone's going to cry and someone's going to feel tender and someone's going to like maybe be frustrated or maybe feel vulnerable or hurt. And like, but we're in a safe spot. We can feel these emotions right now and have these conversations right now. Our kids aren't here. People aren't here. It's just us. Yeah. And that was that environment that we were trying to foster. So that's kind of that, like kind of the boundary line. Yeah. That's why we did that. And so there's a lot of things you can discuss on those. So we spent those first ones really evaluating, because again, we're going to be married for probably by the time this comes out, we'll have been married 16 years. Wow. And so been married for a long time. And I would say for the first 10 to 12 years, we didn't do this. And so we all of a sudden sat down in our first one and we started to evaluate our marriage, evaluate our parenting. We'd already had 2 kids at this time. Evaluate our schedule. So it was like, okay, why are we married? Like, why did we choose each other? What has God done? What do each of us carry that the other person doesn't? Because it's like the avenue they came as a help. Like there was a positive and a negative that came together. You know, like it's like, what do you have that I don't have, and vice versa? What are things in our marriage that we really love? What are things we want to work on? Like, what are ways that we communicate that are great? What are not ways we communicate? What is something that you've seen that you want to address? You know, all these things. We evaluate our parenting. What do we think about this? What do we think about this? What do we think about this? We've talked about the way we, from big things to like the way we, want to raise our kids, instill values, and to practical things like screen time and discipline and things like that. And so we've really tried to have like a list of questions and we work through them. And then we evaluated like our schedule. Okay, what do we like about our schedule right now? What do we not like about our schedule right now? What's creating stress in our lives? That was last couple episodes I talked about. We don't host people on our Sabbath anymore because we realized it was creating stress for us. So we do it on a different night, but we don't do it on that night because it's not life-giving. We actually, on one of those vision retreats, we established our family Sabbath. So like we didn't Sabbath, we did a vision retreat, and we're like, okay, let's decide what do we want our Sabbath. We believe in it. We've kind of, messed around with it a little bit, but what do we actually want it to be? And we piece of paper, we wrote things down. What do we believe? What do we want to do? And we initiated our family Sabbath. Like during that time, we've initiated and decided and discussed our family values. So like I mentioned in another episode, but it's like when we bleed or when you cut us, what do we bleed? Like, what is it that like, everybody loves the Lord and we're all supposed to love people, but like what makes the Downs family unique? Yeah. And like, what do we want on our tombstones when we die? It's like that. It's hard to condone it, but there's the scene in John Wick where they're like about ready to like just go ham on something. And there's the 3 characters, they look at each other and they're like, what do you want in your tombstone? And he's just like, and I think he's just like, he loved his wife, or it was like a husband and a friend, it was just like, it's like, what do you want on your tombstone? And so we actually we spent time doing that. And then we created like a tangible piece. We created like our Downs family values poster, and it's in our dining room. And we try to point to it as much as we can. We do something, whatever. We're like that's one of our values. Hey, remember we just did that? That's one of our values. We help others. We work hard. We rest well. We encourage people. We kind of do these different things. We set goals. Okay, what's something that we want to work on over this next year? And then on the next vision retreat, we look back and we evaluate those goals. Like, did we do it? Like, Why didn't we do it?
Yeah.
How did we do it super well? And so it's like, those are all, those are just like some examples. Like, obviously that's like, if you're just starting off, those are like low hanging fruit. But then as you do it more and more and more, like, you find more things to talk about.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like examples of what we talk about, but it takes preparation.
Yeah.
So again, like you can't, like we talk about with Sabbath, you can't just like go, and then just show up to Sabbath and think you're doing it right.
Yeah.
You can't just like work, live, do. And then all of a sudden, like retreat time happens and you jump in the car, drive to that little like Airbnb you got set up, and you're like, okay, what do we do now? Like it's not going to go well. Like it's just not going to go well.
Yeah.
And so like the first thing we do is we prepare, we set a focus. Okay. We'll start, like, we might start chalking, like right now it's like, fall. We usually do ours sometime in February, but we might shift that a little bit because of some other things. But like, we might even start to write things down now. Like something might come up and we're like, hey, we should talk about that at our next, we call it a sabbatical. Yeah. But in our next retreat, like we should talk about that. Or like leading up to it, we're like, hey, what's some things that you want to process, talk through? Like, it might be something we've been reading about or whatever. And so we'll set a focus, and then we pray leading up to it. Like, I actually spend time like, God, we need to meet you, be with our conversation, our time together. Like you literally need to prepare to do this. Yeah. And then we, practical things, get a babysitter, get a place to stay. We'll, obviously it's a little bit different of a babysitter because it's overnight, so it's like someone's staying with them overnight. So we have a couple people that we trust to like, they would stay with our kids, or our kids would stay with them, but it's like, again, that might be a big ask for someone, but we're like, it's one time a year. Hey, for one night a year, will you take our kids for us so that we can go do this? When you explain it to them, most people are like, sure. Yeah. I would love for you guys to be able to do that. Like 100%. For sure. And then get a place to stay, make it cheap. Don't go and like rent out the Ritz-Carlton. Like go find just some place that's quiet. The whole goal is not that you're having a vacation somewhere. The goal is that you're going away for focused conversation. And so, kind of how we break it up is we kind of make a schedule. So it's like, it's like our day starts and we'll talk for a few hours. Again, conversation's the goal. So maybe we'll spend time answering questions on our own. Maybe we'll write some questions like, hey, let's just spend a couple hours on our own writing the answers to these questions. Or we've already got that done. We'll spend some time talking about it. Break for a quick lunch, and then talk for a few more hours, and then maybe break for like a nice relaxing dinner. It's like, think of it like a work off site. You're going, if you're used to any kind of like corporate off site, it's like you got like time of work, a working lunch, time of work, and then it's like, all right, let's just chill out let's rest, whatever. Now, because again, not vacation, big, deep, difficult conversations. Now we'll add worship together. We play instruments. We're worship leaders. So like, we'll be like, hey, let's open up with some worship. So I'll jump on a piano or a guitar. If we don't have access to any of that, just play something on, my phone, and we'll worship to kind of set that tone. We have times of intimacy, sex together as well. Now you have to kind of be careful with the timing of that, because it's like, if you just had like a really deep, difficult conversation, you're like, all right, so you want to like go in the bedroom, it's like, doesn't always work. She's just like still crying, and you're just like, doesn't always work out, so timing's key to that. And so, I try to plan those moments after like I've, done a good part of that kind of like, oh yeah, like
if you could touch up your makeup really quick. Yeah. Yeah.
So
timing's everything.
So worship, intimacy, all that stuff, you can still do all that. You can go out to eat. You can do all that stuff that you might do on like a vacation or a date. But again, it's all about that time. So we've done it for years, and it's been really impactful, very vision setting. There are things that we do to this day, and sometimes every week, every day, that were established in these vision retreats. And what was really fun is that a few times into it, we pulled out some old pieces of paper that had questions we wrote down, values, goals, things like that. And we're like, I'm curious, if this is still accurate. And we looked at the goals and we're like, yeah, we've been doing this. Looked at values. Yeah, we've been doing this. Looked at goals and we're like, we did that. We said we wanted to do that and we did that. Hey, we wanted to define friendship and we defined friendship. Hey, we wanted to do our sabbatical, our Sabbath, and we did that. We wanted to talk to our kids about this and we did that, And so it's like rewarding. You're like, oh, high five, babe. Like we are doing this. Like we're not just constantly dealing with the daily like circumstances and issues where you just feel like you're just constantly treading water. You're like, no, look, we did these big things. Like we can keep going because we know we're going to keep doing that. So it's super important. And I think the thing with this, as I'm kind of closing this time together, is that we just talked through, if you're this far, so we're like, I don't know how many hours probably total this whole conversation has been. We've talked about rest, talked about these 5 habits: morning, evening, Sabbath, date night, and retreat. These 5 habits are not like, in my opinion, just pick one and you're fine. Like they all work together. I mean, there's a few ways you can look at it. It's like the fingers on a hand. You could probably get away with a couple fingers missing, but you're probably going to run into, you can't really perform at the same capacity with that. Or I look at it as like, one example I had is like water, food, sleep, exercise, vitamins. Like you can't just like pick one of those things. Like I'll just drink water, and it's like, well, you got to sleep. It's like like I'll just eat. Okay, well, you got to exercise. Like, and so and I'll come back to that point in a second. But it's like if you try to make those things not do what they're supposed to, like if you try to make them do something else, that's when things get kind of weird and wonky. Like your morning and your evening time, it determines the atmosphere of your home. It's the standard setter. This is what we do, morning and evening, morning and evening. The weekly Sabbath, it changes how you operate every day as a family. It sets your 6-day rhythm, and it is a time to heal as a family on the 7th day. That regular date night, it helps foster relationship, helps foster intimacy. And that annual retreat is setting vision and direction and goals for your whole family for the year. And when you don't have one, the others suffer. Yeah. Or if you don't have one, you're trying to make the other do something it shouldn't. So it's like if you try to make your Sabbath be what your morning time should be, and you're never doing your morning time and only doing it on Sabbath, it's not going to go well. Yeah. If you try to do your dates, like if you try to do a vision retreat, but you've never done date night, you're not going to have a good time with your vision retreat because you have no relationship. Yeah. If you like, there's so many examples of like I was talking about the water, the food, the sleep, the vitamins, the exercise. If you're like, I'm just going to eat vitamins and then not eat well, it's like, well, that doesn't work, And it's like, I'm just going to eat food, but not drink water. It's like, well, that doesn't work. You're trying to make one thing be something it shouldn't. So all of these things, they work together, and it's not only a command from God, but it's a gift from God to rest well. And if you are struggling with burnout, if you're struggling with vision, if you're struggling with relationship, intimacy, time with the Lord, discipleship in your family, healing and rest through the week, any of those things, I just named a lot of things. You're struggling with those things. It all comes down to not working too hard. It comes from not resting well. And God has given us the model of what it means to rest well. And so you might look at this stuff and you're like, I can't do that. Like I'm struggling in that area. It's not possible for me. I can't afford that with my time or my money or my relationships. I can't find someone to do this. Know that you are in control of your time. You can steward your time. And if you think it is of value, you would actually prioritize it. And if you need help, reach out to one of us. Like, we would love to process this with you. But God has given you the ability and the gift of rest. He wants you to thrive. He wants you to have a happy and healthy life. Doesn't mean an easy life, but it does mean a life full of rest. So we hope that you enjoyed this series. I mean, it was a marathon, this series, this like 6-episode series of resting well. There's something, I greatly, so if you're here at Radiant and you see me and you just want to come talk about rest, I will talk to you about it all the time. If you don't, leave a comment, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Taylor, thank you so much, man, for giving your day with us.
Thanks for having me.
And so make sure that you subscribe. We'll be jumping back into more stories and other things on the Radiant Podcast. So hit subscribe and we will see you on the next episode of the Radiant Podcast.
We did it. Dude.
6 podcast episodes. Let's go. You were looking tired there towards the end.
Was I?